Crypto holders, listen up. We have got Bitcoin market warnings here for you. All kinds of crazy stuff going on, some positive and some negative warnings. Well, I guess maybe it's all kind of positive in a weird way. But we had another bank collapse. We have massive dysfunction happening in the Forex markets because the US has distorted global markets. Big Bitcoin ETF news, but also some weird Bitcoin ETF news. The fact that news that it's not really moving. So we got a lot to cover. Price, of course, consolidating, stagnating, shaking people out right now. Okay. So let's get into this. First, I actually want to take a quick look at the price of Ethereum. Ethereum, MACD, trending up. That's nice. Let's see it build some more strength before we get too excited. Potentially a good indication for where altcoins could be moving. But right now, Ethereum really struggling with the 50-day EMA. You can see it got rejected here. Trying once again to recover above that. Rejected here with a pretty nasty wick. Currently struggling right on the line for the 50-day EMA. So market not showing huge strength yet. Actually showing quite a bit of weakness at the moment. If we can get some decent momentum here, that would show us a bit more strength in the market right now. Yeah, it's kind of just chilling there. Not a lot to report. This is very interesting. I want to share this with Mr. Crypto. Stock market bottom signal flashing. So what's very, very interesting. So stock markets have been going down. You may have noticed. What's fascinating is that they have a retail investor optimism chart, and retail has just flipped bearish on stocks. Now, what's interesting is the last time this happened right at the start of a massive rally. So it was back in November of 23. Retail flipped bearish. It's the end, recessions, blah, 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 blah. And what happened? The S&P 500 rallied from about 4,100 up to 5,250. Interesting. Just that reminder, retail's almost always wrong. And we're retail. What's going on? I don't know what to think of it. But you have to think contrarian. You have to think counter to the herd because the herd is usually wrong. And if, again, the herd is usually wrong in this situation, then what does that mean? That means that markets could be moving towards a recovery situation. That's for stock markets and for crypto because they're obviously very, very linked to risk on, risk off attitudes. Taking a look here at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin just consolidating. Look at this big consolidation pattern right here. Look at this. Just, it's nuts. Very wide range for this consolidation. We hit our 73, almost 74K, didn't we? That's crazy. Hit 73K. Since then, we've just been in this big, wide consolidation range here for Bitcoin. Currently, MACD still trending down pretty hard. Fine. The farther that goes down, it's like pushing a ball underwater, right? The farther you push it down, the harder it's going to pop when it goes back up eventually. Struggling at the 50-day EMA as well. We had a little move over it back here on the 22nd, 23rd, lost on the 24th, currently trading under the 50-day EMA. Bitcoin struggling with that momentum. Ideally, to maintain this range, we need to see Bitcoin staying above about 58K. Okay, if we drop much under 58K, we could be seeing lower numbers coming through because it means we're losing the key area of price support here for this whole structure and for this whole range. Anything within this range, fine. And that could go, this could go for months. Not saying it's going to, but it could. And if it does, don't care, it's fine. eCoin metrics here sharing a great chart. It says when the demand coming from ETFs is flat, Bitcoin gets stuck. It's amazing to see how much of a catalyst the Bitcoin ETFs were, because they did drive the price massively until they didn't, until demand basically hit a wall. Fascinating behavior from these Bitcoin ETFs so far. I really like seeing it. It's really interesting. Obviously, we want them to go back up and more people to come in and buy, but those sales teams, they're still out there. They're still having those conversations. Morgan Stanley's training the 15,000 brokers to start pushing Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff, right? Ecoin metrics saying when the demand coming from ETFs is flat, Bitcoin gets stuck. From January to mid-March, the ETFs accumulated more than 200,000 coins. During that time, Bitcoin went from $40,000 to $75,000. From mid-March to now, the net inflows for the ETFs are flat, and BTC is stuck in the $60,000 range. All we have to do, get some more demand coming in. OzGaming.net. So is the bull run over? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In my opinion, I could be spectacularly wrong and lose a lot of my money, because that's what happens in the market sometimes. I'm not an oracle, but from my understanding of everything that I look at, all the indicators, all the charts, all that kind of stuff, the market is far from over. Okay, we have to expect these regular, massive, brutal, savage drawdowns in the market where your Bitcoin goes down 20 to 30%, Ethereum too, where your altcoins go down 50 to 75%. In a bull market. Crypto's crazy, man. The volatility's wild. If you make it in these markets, I don't know, man. You deserve all the money you get. Absolutely. Because people come in at the top when you're making all the money and you're cashing. Oh, you just got lucky, man. No, screw you. I didn't get lucky. Worked my ass off for this. I went through all kinds of crap that you people wouldn't believe. Okay. Seriously. So never let them tell you that you got lucky, because if you make it through all this wildness, then you didn't get lucky. You had balls. Okay. You were able to be contrarian when other people got afraid. You were able to stick to your guns when the going got tough, and it's not easy. These markets are not easy. They will test you every single day. And they do. And it's tough sometimes. But if you can stick with it long term, you have to see where we're going. Here's an interesting take as well. This is about, by the way, tomorrow. Well, I guess probably, tomorrow. No, tomorrow. Okay. It's Hong Kong. It's pretty close to my time zone. Tomorrow, can actually say that because usually when I say tomorrow, it's actually like almost 2 days for you guys in like the States, because the time difference anyway. Tomorrow, mainland Chinese citizens will not be able to participate in Hong Kong's Bitcoin ETFs that start trading tomorrow. So tomorrow, Bitcoin spot ETFs and Ethereum spot ETFs are set to be listed in Hong Kong, which is great. Hong Kong, major financial center of East Asia, obviously. But this Bloomberg data analyst, Jack Wang, is saying, nope, mainland China, not going to be in on the Hong Kong party. Now, that he's probably really talking about mainland China retail, Chinese banks aren't going to be able, mainland banks are going to be able to offer Bitcoin ETFs to their customers, stuff like that. You got to understand the high net worth individual people, they always have the options, right? And they'll be able to get their money into Hong Kong and have all that stuff set up, all right? But Hong Kong is still a very, very big story. And money will come. And at some point, China will need to acquiesce and let people participate in those Bitcoin ETFs. In fact, here's a hot take on China and Bitcoin ETFs. China should absolutely allow Bitcoin ETFs. Absolutely allow it. Because their big worry is that people are going to use Bitcoin to do capital flight and take their money overseas. But if it's in a Bitcoin ETF, they can't do that. They still get the price exposure, but Beijing still gets to control the market and collect the fees, taxes and whatever. So it's actually, in a weird way, China should be rushing to absolutely approve Bitcoin ETFs for mainland Chinese investors, because they're going to do it anyway. And if you give them an avenue to do it, then they'll do it. Otherwise, they'll buy Bitcoin on the black market, which they do. China's still one of the biggest markets for crypto in the world. And then they'll use it for capital flight. Okay. Guys, as always, save all those great altcoin questions till the end of the video. Thoughts on Arrow dropping like crazy? All altcoins are dropping like crazy. Arrow and anything else you might be looking at is not the exception right now. All altcoins tend to move in unison. We got some comments on altcoins here in a few minutes. Here's some big news as well. Again, big picture, guys, big picture. And it gets you beyond the price, whatever, of today. Bloomberg crypto reporting, Australia set for wave of Bitcoin ETF launches this year, following in the footsteps of the USA and Hong Kong, as issuers like VanEck and Beta shares line up for the listings. Another major economy. We're talking about Australia, of course. Major candidates right now, of course, we have Germany and the UK, which are definitely doing it. We have South Korea almost certainly doing it. Hong Kong's tomorrow. Australia coming in a few weeks, potentially. All very big. Okay, more demand. The rising tide that lifts all boats is this increased amount of money coming into the markets, more liquidity coming into the markets. And this is more liquidity. Now, will Australian Bitcoin ETFs be as big as the ETFs for the United States? Obviously not. It's Australia. It's a much smaller economy. But can those Australian ETFs suck up tens of thousands of Bitcoin in the long term? 100%. And that's a lot of Bitcoin when you add it up with everything else going on. Don't fade it. All these stories, it's not about the single story. It's about all the stories in combination. I want to share this with you from Altcoin Daily. They posted this. They said when the gold ETF was approved in 2004, there was an 8-year bull run. Yet it took the gold ETF more than 800 days to reach what BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF in terms of assets under management achieved in over 70 days. What does this mean? Demand for Bitcoin is much greater than gold in 2004, with supply being much scarcer. Yes, agreed. And as I followed up on their post with, what's interesting, and we've talked about this before, actually, these Bitcoin ETFs even launched, the similarities, and it's fascinating to see this similar thing playing out. It's wild. It's wild how markets work. Back when gold ETFs launched, there was this initial excitement running up to the actual ETF approval. Price went up from $300 to $400 or something like that. Big move for gold. And then just shortly after the the gold ETFs were approved, the price then corrected down by about 10, 15% and ranged sideways for 6 months before this happened. Before it went from $400 to $2,000. Now gold's up to $2,300, $2,400. I haven't looked at the price of gold today, but crazy stuff, right? Things don't happen overnight. The expectation on approval for something like this is that, oh, it's going to be all overnight and everything's going to go crazy. No, it doesn't happen like that. The reality is it takes a little time for these things to work up. And the Bitcoin ETFs were just so wildly bullish straight out the gate. It's insane. Okay. It shows the demand for these assets. By the way, Japanese public company Metaplanet just bought $6.25 million worth of Bitcoin. More companies buying Bitcoin all of the time. Very exciting stuff. Hey, just real quick shout out as well to the team over at Polkadot for sponsoring today's video. And I want to give you an update on Jam. So let's go over real quick what the heck is going on here. So Jam explained. First, Gavin Wood highlights some of the current weaknesses of the Polkadot model. So making a parachain is expensive, it's hard, it's time consuming. Parachains are pretty isolated despite the cross-chain messaging system that currently exists. And joining Polkadot by winning an auction is expensive and limited in time process. So the current mechanisms are not working super well. So what is the goal of Jam, the join accumulate machine? So resilience for the network, no stoppage and corruption, generality, able to perform Turing complete computation performance to do it quick and at low costs. Coherency, things like interoperability in Polkadot 1.0, as well as accessibility to make it easy, fast, cheap, and permissionless to use. So Jam allows for services on the network for them to be permissionless and only limited in their code, data, and state by deposit requirements. Polkadot parachains will be just one of them. Anyone can start a service. Services can communicate with each other and do it more easily. An EVM, that's Ethereum virtual machine, will be able to connect to a parachain that taps massive liquidity, of course, which is a very, very important thing. Now, parachains are going to be one of the first services on Jam. So parachains aren't going anywhere. And they're going to be staying as what they say as first-class citizens. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. Jam will also include a parachain service that supports existing substrate-based parachains, allowing the developers to continue using substrate for blockchain development and deployment. So lots of exciting things going on here. And by the way, there's not going to be any new token here. This is just a massive upgrade for the Polkadot network. So DOT's still going to be the token behind the Jam network. This is adding on goodness on top to the overall Polkadot cake that we already have. Okay. And does this change the vision for Polkadot 2.0? What's the difference? Well, as core developer Kian Palmani points out, he says Polkadot 2.0 includes anything not included in the original Polkadot white paper. That includes agile core time, bullish and agile core time, by the way, elastic scaling, async backing, and among other things. But it still makes no sense to keep Jam separate from Polkadot 2.0 discussions. The first Jam service, again, will be parachain services with several other services to follow shortly thereafter. Unlike Polkadot 2.0, though, which will roll out over time, Jam is going to be a one-time upgrade event. So a big upgrade coming for Polkadot. So something to keep an eye out for. Now, thanks again to the guys at Polkadot for sponsoring today's stream with that news update. So let's continue. Check this out. Another bank collapsed, guys. I don't know if you caught this news, but Republic First Bank officially collapses and has been seized by regulators. It's happening again. The banks are collapsing. This is this is part of the market warning. It's interesting. There's so many positive and negative things happening in the markets at the same time. You have all this great ETF news, but then you have the reality that Wall Street ETFs have stalled. Currently, they'll pick up again, but currently they've stalled. And that lack of new demand from Wall Street ETFs is why the price is currently stalling. It'll pick up. It's only a matter of time. A lot of money out there can buy these Bitcoin ETF products. A lot of money out there that will buy these Bitcoin ETF products. Okay. Anyway, another bank collapsing, just a Friday afternoon sort of thing, I guess, when it collapsed. Now, of course, Monday here in New Zealand, anyway, Sunday night for you guys. I suppose in the States. But the real story is not another bank collapsing. Banks collapsing, right? Big deal, right? Another bank collapses, whatever. Just all consolidates power more into the hands of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all that kind of stuff. The big news is what's happening right now with the Japanese yen. And I'm not an expert on the situation, so I want to read some hot takes from Twitter on this for you because I think it's very interesting. Peruvian bull saying, this is it. We're moving to a new stage of the end game. Japanese yen ripping through barriers like paper, passing each level where the Bank of Japan intervened before. The slow motion meltdown has finally begun to accelerate, and authorities are powerless to stop the decline unless they want to dump their U.S. treasuries. Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary, probably on the phone with the Japanese right now, warning of dire consequences if they put their finger on the button to defend their currency. Japanese Prime Minister Kishida met with Biden this month, smiling on the surface, but pain underneath, knowing what, of course, is happening. He said he knows, as Kuroda does, the terrible truth. They are trapped. With debt to GDP at an eye-watering 263%. The number, I think, is it 130%, where it's if you get debt to GDP over 130%, that's basically you're cooked. Or is it 130%? Might be a bit slightly higher number than that. But yeah, anyway. They go on. They can't afford to normalize rates with the Fed since they have to maintain low rates. A massive carry trade opens up, bolstering USD and pulling Japanese yen down consistent. The longer the Fed keeps rates high, the worse this blows out. News of a hot inflation in the US this morning made things worse, as now Powell has more justification for higher for longer. This just means more pain ahead for Japan. In the US, massive 50% downside miss on GDP paired with hot PCE means stagflation is returning, which is very, very problematic. With government interest expense at all-time highs and trillion-dollar deficits as far as the eye can see, this means more debt growth as we accelerate across the monetary event horizon. The walls are beginning to close in. Attacks on Bitcoin have escalated with, first, the Feds arresting developers of Samurai Wallet. Next, Phoenix Wallet pulls their app from the App Store. Now the DTCC, which is a giant clearinghouse that does like quadrillions a year in volume. Yeah, big deal, these guys. They're assigning 100% haircut to all crypto assets, basically saying, do not bring your crypto to us. We will not give you loans against it. He says they're coming for non-KYC wallets first, right? They're going after MetaMask right now It's a crime in America to hold your own keys, or it's starting to go that way. Privacy is a crime in America, where you're treated like a criminal if you want privacy. Having your own non-custodial wallet is increasingly a criminal act in America. At least that's what the SEC wants you to think. That's what the FBI wants you to think. You're a bad person if you control your own keys. You see where things are going? Then they're going to come for the nodes. Then self-custody itself. Your privacy is at stake. Your future is at stake. The truth is they depend on us to keep the whole charade going. We man the barricades of the dying fiat monetary system. Without us working for their money, they have nothing to control us with. Look, the people you are after are the people you depend on. We cook your meals, we haul your trash, we connect your calls, we drive your ambulances, we guard you while you sleep. Do not fuck with us. Tyler Durden. Great way to finish up the nice rant there. Thanks for that, Peruvian bull. Very interesting stuff, though, isn't it? Big things are afoot in the macroeconomic scene right now. Autism Capital saying, as the legacy financial system continues to collapse, bank failures, seizures, inflation, etc., having to protect wealth, having and protecting wealth will become increasingly dubious. People will fly to assets, real estate, stocks, and crypto, but they will try to tax you out of your ownership. This is the things like unrealized capital gains. That's an insane law proposal. The fact that even talk about that means they hate you and want you to be poor. It's only, can they get it through? And they'll probably end up getting it through on some absolutely stupid, like they're going to have some giant thing where they put it on like the Ukraine war funding or Israel war funding or something like that. And by the way, 25% capital gains tax on unrealized gains. That's crushing. It's crushing. It just destroys everything. It's such a dumb idea, but this is what they want. Remember, you will own nothing and be happy. This is the stated goal. And how do they take everything away? By slowly bleeding away with wealth taxes and unrealized gains taxes and increased capital gains taxes, higher income tax, all that kind of stuff. At the same time, inflation keeps going up. They keep printing money. You keep getting screwed. Going on, Autism Capital says people will fly. Yep, there we go. They will also try to seize your crypto in any way they can with every legal and even physical tool at their disposal, which is probably one of the biggest risks of Bitcoin ETFs. Probably safe just from the perspective of they want you in somewhere that they can just manage you. If you own Bitcoin, but you're not using Bitcoin, you don't self-custody Bitcoin, you don't have the keys to your Bitcoin, they don't care if you speculate on the price of Bitcoin. That's not a problem for them. Using Bitcoin, which they cannot control, they hate that. They don't want you to do that. No. He says, living in the United States has never been more financially uncertain than today. These are the last gasps of a dying empire, and they will do whatever they can to survive. Your rights, the Constitution, when pressured, mean nothing to those who want to preserve power. It's true. Be mindful, be mobile, protect yourself and your assets, stay safe. There's no going back. Sounds a bit grim, but you should always have a plan B. You should be ready. You have to remember, crazy times can happen quicker than you can realize. You're always just one crisis away from complete government tyranny. Just remember all the crazy stuff that's happened over the years. They said you couldn't own gold 100 years ago, not even 180 years ago. They said private ownership of gold's not allowed anymore. Right? They took Japanese Americans, locked them in internment camps for years. Your rights are only as good as the good times allow them to be. When things get tough, they come for your money, they come for you. And that's not just like an America thing. That's any country, anywhere. Always have plans, okay? Know what, like, we live in somewhere where there's earthquakes. And you always have to be thinking, okay, well, where's your oh shit bag, right? Okay, what happens if that situation happens? Do you have an oh shit bag plan for, well, what happens if, like, I don't know, shit really goes down and there's martial law or gosh knows whatever. They roll out CBDCs and you're trapped in fiat currency. They won't even ask you. One day you're just going to wake up and all the money in your bank account was converted into CBDCs and now have an expiry date on them. You have 6 months to spend your CBDCs or they expire. This is the dangers of programmable money. This is the dangers of CBDCs. This is the danger of the financial system that's being built. And guess what? Did you say the wrong thing online? Well, you're not allowed to buy any airplane tickets for next year. Okay? Behave better next year, citizen, if you want to get your privileges back. Might be going off on a bit of a deep end here, but this stuff is why we Bitcoin. And it's easy to forget about why we're here. I know the meme coins are fun, and I know the gaming's fun. Oh, it's all cool stuff, man. But if you actually go back to why we Bitcoin, why this all happened anyway, it's this. Okay, it's this. It's the fact that we need a better financial system. And the attacks on self-custody and all this stuff shows you that they're afraid of that system, that system is starting to have an impact and that they don't like it. Bullish on crypto, guys. Bullish on crypto. One final thought here from Peruvian Bull, and then we're going to dive into your questions. Guys, Peruvian Bull said, I've said and will always say that the end state of all financial issues will be more quantitative easing, aka printing that ka-ching, baby. Japanese yen blowing out, lower US 8s, more QE. Banking crisis, more QE. Treasury debt crisis, more QE. It was written in the stars long ago. Mark Moss saying the question is, are you long enough? That may be the only real question. Are you long enough? Are you bullish enough on the future of everything? I know all this scary stuff's happening over here, but then what about all the exciting stuff happening? Okay. That's that. Big things afoot in the world. Try to keep up to date with some of that news beyond our just normal talking about meme coins and the latest DeFi and latest gaming coin and all that stuff. I think this stuff's also very important. So I hope that you appreciate these kind of messages when we do discuss them here on the stream. Let's have a Sam Pelly. Okay. Let's hit the super chats. In Lark with Trust, no paper hands. Taco Breaks, thoughts on Brett on base. Well, there's definitely some drama over the weekend with Brett. It went down like 70% or something. Totally crazy. But, a lot of altcoins been seeing a pretty harsh volatility recently. In particular, with Brett, there was this worry about whitelisted addresses buying the coin at the start. And look, here's the thing. As somebody who holds Brett, there's always going to be, with all the meme coins, there's always going to be something going on. There's going to be ownership concentrated in the top hands. I think, was it Dogecoin? It's like the top 10 addresses hold like 70% or something like that. Wild amounts of concentration. Shiba Inu, huge amounts of coins concentrated there as well. A lot of the meme coins actually had blacklists, so they excluded some addresses that got into early, got in at the wrong time, sniped the listing, whatever. And it's a tricky thing because you might say, okay, well, launch should have been fair, whatever. Sure, but the flip side is obviously whatever they've done has worked massively because they ran it up from 0 to $850 million or something like that, and it's still the premier meme coin on base. And so I'm holding my bag. I held through the FUD. I was like, whatever, man. But this is my thought with all meme coin investments. Every time I invest in a meme coin, and I think more so than other cryptocurrencies, to be honest, I always hope that when I have a cryptocurrency investment with something bullshit, great use case, AI, token, whatever, I'm like, okay, I hope that that's going to do better. But I always assume that, especially with meme coins, it's either zero or like Mega Moon stuff. And I'm totally prepared for either situation. That's why I would never invest like 100% of my money into a meme coin. It can go to zero. That's fine. Will Brett go to zero? I don't think so. I think there's 145 or 150,000 addresses currently holding Brett. A lot of, I think, support came out for Brett over the weekend with all this sort of FUD going around and whatever. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Brett. I still like the meme, still holding a giant bag of Brett. Yeah. So there you go. Let's go on to the next one. Brett says, oh man, I'm having so much FOMO yet hesitating. Yeah, it definitely came back down quite a bit. I mean, man, some people got in at 2 cents. I try to zone out of the weekends and not pay too much attention to the markets, spend more time with the family and all that stuff. But you're still taking a crap or something, you get the phone out. What's going on Twitter? Oh no, this is what's going on. Crap, the price is going down. So I didn't actually buy any at 2 cents. I haven't bought any more. I think I've got enough of a bag already of Brett, and actually probably most of my meme coins. I've got Foxy, I've got Puff, I've got Benji. low cap dog coin on base. So I think I'm good. I feel like I'm good. I don't know. You never know. Maybe we'll get a couple more meme coins at some point, but I think for the general part, I'm good on meme coins. I don't want to have too much exposure to memes. They're very volatile, very risky. But yeah, as long as you go into that with the idea that, they could go to zero, then there you go. Plans for when America bans self-custody. Well, not really my problem, I guess, but it's terrible. As a non-American not living in America, crap. It's going to suck. It's going to suck for a lot of people. Kind of undermines a lot of what crypto is and what crypto is supposed to be if we just put it all on banking rails and everybody just goes and buys their Bitcoin at BlackRock. I mean, what have we become? Wherever Satoshi is right now, he's either rolling his grave if he's dead, or he's sitting on a beach in the Cayman Islands or whatever going, this is not what you were supposed to do, guys. BlackRock's not part of the revolution. Don't give your Bitcoin to BlackRock. But yeah, there's tax advantages and stuff like that. And it's custody, and I get it. Anyway, the harsh reality is that what happens in America tends to echo around the Western world, at least. So if America pushes for a ban on self-custody, then you'll see other places do that. What my guess is going to be, they're not going to try to ban self-custody. My thought. What they're going to do, though, is they're going to end all privacy. So self-custody will go down the route of it'll be 100% known. You have to KYC your wallets, and they're going to know, okay, take your Bitcoin off of Coinbase and put it in your wallet. Tell us what the wallet address is. You need to prove that you're the owner of that, whatever it's going to be, or you need to list that on Coinbase. Yeah, this is my wallet. This is the one that I own. And if you send that to another address, who did you send it to and why? They're going to bring this kind of stuff in, and that's already being pushed forward in the EU. It's going to be pushed forward in the USA too. Okay. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Bilal says, I'm holding 290 link coins. A friend said sell half because it's not going to do as good as others. Keep in mind, I'm well advised for it. Do you recommend swapping some of link tokens? I have no idea what you should do with your money. The question is, what was your idea when you got into Link? What was your anticipation for it? What was your plan for it? What were you trying to do with it? So that's all questions you should be asking yourself. My personal thoughts on Link, as somebody who's been in since $7, currently still in profit. We're down a bit of unrealized gains, but that's fine. I think it's going to go up to like $140, maybe 160, 180, like max peak of euphoria bull market stuff. So I'm fine with that. Can you get bigger gains elsewhere? Sure. But I also like to have some lower volatility, lower risk plays in my portfolio. It helps me sleep well at night. Death Star Delts let us know. Has let us know he's unsub. Peace out, man. Nice. Hope you make a lot of money this cycle. What's your opinion on XRP? Well, we shared that the other day in our video on XRP, but generally XRP, I'm just not excited about it. I don't know, man. I don't care about XRP. Haven't cared about XRP in a long time. And it was actually one of the first altcoins I ever bought, but I just don't care about XRP. I'm not super into this. Their use case, like, yeah, let's connect all the banks and stuff. And yeah, I don't care about that. I think they're going to struggle as a use case with basically free to sub-penny stablecoin transfers on all these different chains now. Liquidity, of course, is a big issue. If you want to transfer $1 billion between banks, well, you're going to need, if you need to go from USD to Japanese yen for $1 billion trade, obviously you want to do that with great liquidity and low slippage, of course. So can we have that liquidity in crypto? Yes. Is it there right now? No, but it can be. XRP could still serve some purposes, but I'm just not very excited about it, man. And I hope that it does well. Again, I hope your XRP bags do fantastically. But just, I don't know. I don't feel like there's a great, at this point in time, and maybe they get wild success at some point in the future, but they've got a lot more competition than they did in 2012 when they came out. It just doesn't really do it for me, personally. Thoughts on Cock in You and Foxy? Cock in You, hilarious meme. Big fan. Don't have very much. I have about $2,000 worth in the 10K to 100K challenge portfolio for the newsletter. Foxy, very interesting one. Cock and You, by the way, is like the leading meme on Avalanche right now. Foxy, leading meme on Linea blockchain, which is backed by Consensus, MetaMask, and all that kind of stuff. I think this one's got some pretty interesting potential as being the big meme on Linea, especially as we see like Linea hype build up, and we see more potential around Linea building with the airdrop and stuff as that all starts to happen. So yeah, it's apparently quite popular in Asian markets. I've got a bag of both of those. So yeah, we'll see how they play out. A lot of people ask is people asking about Arrow. Let me just see here. Was it down like 90% today or something like that? Is this like unusual amounts of volatility? Is this what we're seeing here? Down 10%. I mean, down 10% a day for altcoins. That's fine. Not a big deal. So quite a few people asking about Arrow. It's gone down from, what was its recent high? It got up to 231. I think I got most of mine around $1.80 or something like that, somewhere around there. So it's down. It's down. I don't care. Doesn't matter. But is it a problem? I'm still invested. Here's the thing. I bought a whole bunch of Arrow and I put it into the USDC Arrow liquidity pool. I'm going to keep claiming, redepositing, building that up for a few months, and then start accumulating Arrow bags, holding those, waiting for it to get up to like, I don't know, $10 or something. Then I'll dump all that, remove the liquidity, peace out. Thanks for all the money. That's the general kind of plan. Maybe not $10, maybe it'll be a bit higher, but Arrow's not down like crazy. It's not down any more so than other altcoins are down right now. So I think that's the thing to keep in mind. If it was down like 50% today and some just like straight down move, I'd say, oh, that's something's going on. I'd be worried. It's not worrying currently for me. And this is just what I'm doing with my money, guys. I can't tell what to do with your money. This is not financial advice. Obviously, crypto's risky. You can lose all your money. You can find my full portfolio disclosures as well as a risk statement in the description on YouTube or in the pinned comment on X. Okay. But I'm still invested in my Arrow. I have zero plans on soon because I got into it for a long-term thesis in mind. This is the biggest DeFi app on Base right now. Base is going to be absolutely huge. I want to be positioned in this. So I bought a bunch. I'm holding it. I'm chilling on it. I have no plans on rushing out the door a week after buying it or 2 weeks after buying it. What would be the point in that? I expect massive volatility. I expect my altcoins to go down 50, 60, 70% during a bull market cycle, which sounds absurd, but that's the kind of volatility because things will go down 50, 60%, and then they'll shoot back up 300, 400%. That's what happens. Not all the time. I could be wrong. I could lose all my money. Keep that in mind. Okay. Let's catch up with the chat here a little bit, huh? A few minutes behind. What's your strongest conviction play? Bitcoin. Obviously. I suppose you're probably not talking about Bitcoin. My strongest conviction play beyond that, it's a fascinating question. I would say almost a combination of Jupiter, Trader Joe, and Aerodrome, just because of their places within the major beta plays of Avalanche, Base, and Solana. All have very interesting mechanisms that are slightly different between each of them. Okay. But I think those sort of beta plays are some of my highest conviction bags at the moment, I would say. There's some other stuff I'm super excited about, and levels of conviction vary, right? Like I'm very excited about my Chainlink bags. I think those are going to $140, and I'm happy to wait until that happens. Thoughts on TIA? I want more airdrops. I think once I get the Milky Way airdrop, I'm probably going to sell the very tiny amount of TIA that I have. Just got a little bit, threw it out there. Let's see if we can get an airdrop that pays more than what the Celestia is worth. Hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will. Currently down like 50% or something on my Celestia. Good times, obviously. Why is the market? Is something dramatic happening at this very minute that I'm not aware of? Let me see here. What's going on? Bitcoin's down 1%. Ethereum's down 2%. Market's just doing market things, man. I don't know. It's not really none of this volatility is particularly concerning. Let's bring it back up, this Bitcoin chart. If we come back down here, it's fine. It's fine. Come down to $60,000, come back down to $58,000. None of it's really a big concern. I think the markets will continue to be very reactive to all this negative macro news in the short term. Long term, we're going to go to crazy places for crypto. And I'm not too worried, again, as I always say here about this short-term price action, right? Short-term price action doesn't worry me very much. Because I'm trying to look at the big picture. Where are these markets going to go in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years? Which I know everyone wants to get rich tomorrow, right? We've been going through some really hard times recently, guys. Bitcoin has been trending down for a grand total of, wait for it. It's been 46 days since the all-time high for Bitcoin. Da, da, da. We're fine. It's fine. You know, it's interesting that previous highs were marked by, if this was the end of the cycle, for example. Let me just go back and have a look here. Previous highs were marked by much stronger, faster volatility once the peak is reached. Let's look, for example, here at 2021. It's a great example of what I'm talking about. This is on the daily chart again. So when Bitcoin topped at let's just call it $65,000, we saw the price of Bitcoin, here, look, drop by 30% in 10 days. Slight rally after that, and then within 35 days, the price was down 56%. Okay, does this feel like the same kind of thing happening right now? Not really. Over here, we see the 69K peak. Within 25 days, the price was down 37%. And it was, let's say, 45 days about here, down 35%, with basically a non-stop down price. Again, look at that, just downtrending hard, not any kind of consolidation happening. What we're seeing right now, this is consolidating. This is consolidating currently. Unless, of course, we see a big break to the downside. Again, we're very reactive to macro news right now, so keep that in mind. I'm not an oracle. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what the markets are definitively going to do, tomorrow, right? But keep in mind that this volatility we're seeing right now is normal consolidation periods after massive. Guys, here's something to consider. And I said this quite a few times, right? We had 7 months straight of green candles for Bitcoin. And I said, this can't keep going on. And I said that at month 5, and I said that at month 6. At month 5, price kept going up. At month 6, price kept going up. Month 7, price hit 73K, and then we started moving back down. Okay? That's crazy. Price doesn't just go up. Price goes up, price goes down. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's how the bull market works. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, until it's 2 steps forward, 20 steps back, and you're in the ground, basically, okay? I don't think we're there yet. What I'm seeing right now is consolidation of markets. We'll see how it plays out, okay? There'll always be some crazy randomness that happens in the markets that screws us all terribly, but overall, I'm seeing consolidation happening in the market right now, and that could play out for a while still. It could be weeks more of consolidating sideways price action with pumps up 5-10%, back down 10%. Right? Happens. Okay, 1 or 2 more questions, guys. We're going to finish up for today. Lark, what do you think about Mo? It's Trader Joe's mantle equivalent. Cool. I like Trader Joe. Mo's great. Got a big airdrop. I sold my airdrop for Mo. I didn't keep it just based on the idea that, man, I didn't want to have too many coins. You get all these airdrop coins. Like, you know what? I'm going to take the cash and walk away. That's it. What are your thoughts on Near? No real opinion on Near. Don't use it very much. I actually did use it the other day. Okay, I had to do something on Near, but I don't use Near very much. I don't think about it that much. I'm not super familiar with all the ins and outs of Near, so I don't really have an opinion on it. Sorry. Moonbeam, is it dead or just never saw a bull run before and needs a change? I feel like it's the latter. I don't feel like Moonbeam's dead. I think when Polkadot 2.0 hype really starts kicking off and all that, that Moonbeam's going to see a renaissance. Fingers crossed from Moonbeam bags anyway. I'm hoping that's the case. I think it just doesn't really, it came out so late last cycle that it just hasn't really had a chance to have a bull run, and that this could be its time. So let's see. No opinion on Cadena. Adam, sorry again. One of those ones I just don't know that much about. I can't give you a good opinion on it. Sorry. Randomness says, not to mention Jerome Powell needs to figure out how he's going to handle inflation in the U.S. Otherwise, there'll be no bull market. Inflation problem does need to be solved. The macro stuff cannot be ignored. Why is the stock market so closely related to crypto? Really has to do with risk on, risk off attitudes. Actually, just this morning, I put that down as a research topic for the writers. We're going to do a video on that in the not so distant future. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have a much more data-driven answer for you on that. But the long and short, the short answer is that crypto and stocks tend to be risk on or risk off together. So when people are feeling a bit scared, they rush back to cash. It means they sell their crypto, they sell their tech stocks, and they rush back over to cash. When people are feeling more optimistic, they take the cash, they buy Bitcoin, crypto coins, tech stocks, whatever. Markets go back up. Let's see. I'll do this last one here. Thoughts on Sui? Can it hit 10x from the current price? Probably. Let's just leave it there. No. I think Sui's been getting a lot of attention from a lot of people. We're seeing more ecosystem. And I don't have a bag. I don't have a horse in the race here. But for what I'm seeing, it's getting more excitement. More people are talking about it. More people are doing stuff over there. TVL is going up. Users are going up. More dApps deploying over there. They got that gaming console dealio thing they're doing. I had some big partnership the other day. I can't even remember what it is off the top of my head, but that's some big partnership the other day. So Sui could be one to pay attention to. We'll put it there. 10x from the current price, I wouldn't be blown away between here and the top of the bull market. Not saying that's what it's going to do. Not financial advice, just an offhand comment. Guys, you're awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next stream. Peace.